Well, I decided that I wanted to do a Tim Talks About Everything segment on landscaping rocks. Landscaping rocks to me are the part of the garden that doesn't disappoint. Because you put the rocks down, you chose them because you like them, and you put them in a spot where they look the best, and then they're there. You don't have to water them, you don't have to feed them, you don't have to put insecticide on them. They aren't going to die on you. I mean, some of them might crumble away a little bit, weather a little bit, but they're going to be there, and they're always going to do their job. So let's just take a look at some of the landscaping rock that I have put around this yard. Here we have a nice piece of rhyolite. It's vestibular, so there are those little holes there. And some of it might actually be filled in with other minerals. So it's a pretty nice piece of landscaping stone, and it looks good, and it provides some interest even in the winter. Over here it looks like a piece of granite. Now this volcanic rock here, this mulch was here when we moved here. I'm not that crazy about it, but you know, it's here, and I don't have to replace it if I don't want to. Here we have a nice column of limestone. The nice thing about this is it's all natural. I just propped it up on one end and turned it into a bird bath. Put this little copper disc up here, little plate, and put some water in it, and it's another little place for the varmints, the birds or whatever, to get in there and get something to drink. I do like geodes. I have a lot of geodes in the garden. They're easy to find, at least in the places that I go, and I enjoy having them. So I've got geodes there. I've got another geode over here on this other piece of limestone, and a piece of a granite tabletop that I found in a junkyard. Moving over here, now this is a pretty big chunk of limestone that it was a lot bigger when we started out, and it just decided to crumble apart. So it's not making quite the statement that it used to, but you know, I can get another one. Here we have another geode. It adds a nice little element in the bird bath here. I like to pick up rocks when I'm out hunting. My rule is that if I do not get what I'm after, I have to carry a rock home. So I must not be a very good hunter, because as you can see, I have quite a few rocks here. Some of them are pretty nice, and some of them are just another rock, just another stone. Most of them are granite, although there is some basalt in here and quite a few geodes. Here's a nice sized geode. The really nice thing about a contorted filbert is it provides a lot of nice winter interest. A lot of other trees, they are nice in the fall or they are nice in the spring, but this one will disappoint you during the year as far as the summer with their foliage. But a contorted filbert is knocking it out of the ballpark when it comes to winter interest. More geodes here. More geodes here. The other nice thing about the geodes is when the grandkids come, it makes a nice little science moment. I call it a moment of science, to do things like break open geodes and that kind of thing. Over here we have a really nice big geode that my grandson dug out. He saw it in a creek bank and the two of us dug it out. It's really nice. I think it's a solid, so I'm not really tempted to break it open, but it's a very nice geode. Occasionally I find rocks in a field that they just look like somebody used them, maybe temporarily or maybe even longer than that, as a tool. Now, I know that a geologist or an archaeologist would say that these are just geofacts, they're not artifacts, but they do seem like they served a purpose at one time. This in the middle is actually a new piece that was made by a friend of mine, and it's actually not an artifact, it's of modern creation. What do you do with rocks that you find when you're on the beach in the Great Lakes? You take them home. Not very many, because you can't take too many. It's not allowed. But what do? You take them home, and then what do you do with them? Well, this is what I do with them. This is many, many years, over many vacations in the Great Lakes area. And I've read that the Japanese, when they have guests over, they will wet down their rocks. That's a sign of hospitality. So while I'm showing you these dry, I am going to pause this camera and I'm going to get them wet so you can see what they look like wet. And now we'll take a look at them wet. So got a couple of pudding stones there. Got some lightning stones there. That might be another pudding stone. Got some horn coral. Horn coral is plentiful in Michigan. Epidote, unikite. A lot of what's called wishing stones, where the stripe goes all the way from one side to the other. It's pretty hard for me to pass up a really nice wishing stone. Petoskey stone. There's some more Petoskey's there. Geodes that we've cracked open there, back here. Rhyolite, a lot of basalt. It's really drying fast, isn't it? Maybe the hospitality only lasts so long too. I don't know about that. It's a nice piece of either banded chert or probably more likely just a mudstone of some kind, sandstone. So that's what you do with all your excess rocks that you don't have displayed inside. This is what I do to keep my rocks, soil, and mulch from going away with the storms that come. I just pile them up, and it makes a nice little gentle way of keeping the water from doing damage to the landscaping. Over here we've got some more rocks, sandstone, nice, GNEIS, some fossils here. Back around here, some more geodes. You can tell I like geodes, especially I like the big spectacular ones. Out in front, gneiss, Gneiss. Basalt with some feldspar, so it's called porphyry. And then back around here to a nice piece of granite. And these rocks, some of them at least, have traveled the miles with me because I can't leave this when I move. I got to take it with me. And that porphyry over there, that has to come too. And then there's brick. Now I don't know how many lives these bricks have had, but they've had several. And that is the nice thing about brick. You make it, you put it in a house, you put it in some kind of structure, the house gets torn down, and then the bricks are saved. And they're reused and reused and reused. Very, very helpful piece of ingenuity. All right, none of these rocks really look all that good right now because this is the ugly time of year when you don't really have the nice plants springing up everywhere. But it's a perfect time to talk about rocks because they're so visible. And you want them to be visible all year long, but mostly this time of year, you're getting a good look at them, and sometimes they have to be adjusted a little bit, like these here. Every year the frost pushes these around, and every year I have to push them back, but it's worth it. I really like the look. It's very natural, organic. Almost everything I do in my garden, I kind of want it to look like God did it, that it was done a long, long time ago. Now I do have architecture out here, I have structure, I have a lot of things that obviously is man-made, but if I have a few rocks scattered here and there and they have mulch and fallen leaves and so forth on them, then it just looks very natural, and I like that look. All right, that wraps it up for this episode of Tim Talks About Everything. I don't know if you learned anything or not, but it gave me a chance to talk about rocks and how they function in a landscape.